All right, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you may be on this beautiful, beautiful earth. It is Wednesday, October 29th, 2025 on the west coast of the United States, and you are here for how to land a software engineering job in just 3 weeks with AI. As you all know, the job search has considerably transformed over the last couple of years, and layoffs continue, especially with Amazon's 14,000 layoffs this week, Target's 1,000, and a continuing drumbeat of cuts as the economy becomes ever more uncertain. We are here today to talk about that. And with us is Phong. Phong is our software engineering mock interviewer as well as a software engineering interview coach himself. He's had stops at companies like DoorDash, Walmart, and IBM, and he's always back here to share with us how you can crack the software engineering job market. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the webinar chat or the Q&A function. We will not be taking any raised hands tonight, and this webinar will also be recording. So, Phong, over to you.
Cool. Yeah. I will give me a sec. I will share my screen. Yeah. So hope everyone can see my screen. Well, thanks, Albert. A little bit about myself, as Albert mentioned, I've done software engineering tutoring for since 2019 or so. So it's a good 6, 7 years now that I've done it. In on average, I stayed at a company for about 3 years or so, sometimes less, before I make the jump to the next one. I've been doing that practically since the beginning of my career. I've done interviews at all sort of companies, very small ones like small startups at as big as 10 people to mid-sized companies to very, very large enterprises. I've got offers from all sorts of companies, again, from very small ones to like the very large one, FANG companies, all the things like that, and everything between. So I've had somewhat of a good experience of how to kind of navigate the market and be able to hopefully give some insight on both sides of the interview tables, depending on whether I'm an interviewer or interviewee. So yeah. Background about myself also, I also did a boot camp a number of years ago. My first job was in 2017. I also done the non-traditional route, working since then. Currently, I'm at a fintech company within the crypto space. So that's kind of where I am. My last two companies have been in crypto, and I'll talk a little bit why I'm sticking around within the same industry and things like that. There's some reasons behind that, right? Cool. So recently, I did a job change. Uh, Understood that the market was tough, but there was a few things that happened, and I felt like it was time for me to move on from it. However, this time of the job search was, I would say, a lot different than the I did before. About 3 years ago, AI wasn't a huge thing as it is right now. So with that, try to kind of leverage as much as I can. And this presentation will act more like kind of like a reflection on what I did, and also kind of during each of the steps that I've done, what AI usage that I use to sort of boost my chances and sort of push me in front of a possible employers. Now that obviously will come with some caveats, and I will also talk about that. But typically today, these are the 6 points that I'm going to go through, right? And then this is a disclaimer, sort of the caveats that I said before. Some of these points will you can apply them generally for any type of careers, whether or not in tech or not. But mostly in tech, this is a time where leverage things like AI will greatly help you to kind of expand your chances, right? These points will not include technical reps because technical prep is a whole topic in and of itself. As Albert mentioned, I do tutoring in this. I've done a lot of work in technical preps, and I have had a lot of interviews practice whether or not I'm giving the interview or someone giving it to me. And but that's a completely different topic. We won't discuss too much of it today. Um, this is the thing in order to be able to utilize the AI well. However, you must be very, very ready with the technical side of things because uh, if you cannot pass a technical screen, generally that would be the second round of interview after the recruiter. Nothing else matters. You're not be able to utilize anything if you're not going to pass that round. That's very important. That goes without saying. Once you pass that, there are other steps that will happen after this, right? And now the very last thing that I want to kind of highlight right here is do not use cheating tools like Gloomly or any of those for interviews. While it might be tempting, their TikToks is very funny from Cluely, but you don't want to do that because if the interviewers find out, and they will, there are a lot of ways that they can find out, can very quickly sometimes be able to identify someone using this program, and you will be blacklisted at these companies and possibly even more companies because people know each other. The tech world isn't that big. You will find out as you go through your career that you tend to run into the same people again and again, and you do not want to leave a bad impression, especially if you're cheating in an interview. It is very bad, and I do not recommend that. Now, with that out of the way, uh, this is sort of what my 6 weeks looks like. The bulk of the interview was conducted within about 3 weeks periods from the 28th of July until uh, about here in August. This is sort of most of my interviews happen. As you can see, every day it average about 5, 6 different interviews and different rounds of interview. Um, Throughout this, I've learned a lot. I kind of use AI a lot in many of the steps to kind of help me prepare well and help me to kind of put myself forward. Now, before before I even started applying anything, some of the things that I did was kind of did a self-assessment. And this is very important. The first thing is sort of identify the niche that you want. This doesn't apply for everybody. If you are an entry level, you don't have this. However, someone in mid-career, in a senior position, you might have some niche. You might be been working in something like, you've been working at grocery companies before, things like Walmart, Target, Amazon, or you might work in like cloud computing, like, things like Google Cloud Services, Salesforce Cloud, things like that. Or you work in like human resources technology, like Rippling, for example, Deal, those kind of company. Identify the niche with it. And then after that, figuring out what you are good at. You do not apply for everything, obviously. Understand if you are good at front end, back end, system, database, distributed system, whatever that is. Try to kind of understand what are you good at, what have you been doing the most with, and sort of kind of lean into the strength of what you are good at and within your niche, right? The next is where you want to go. Where you want to take your position next. So within this market, having a niche is very, very important. Very, very important. When I send out my resume and I have experience in crypto, that is a very, very niche things. Very unlike the regular Web2 technologies that you work at. If you have a niche like that, it will help a lot of it to push you in front of of prospective companies. Crypto is very, very good right now. There are a lot of small companies that are willing to talk to you at the very least if you have that in your resume, for example, right? So having a niche is very important, and this is why I choose to kind of stick with it because uh, at least from my last time of interviews, every a majority, probably 90% of the companies that I interview with, they were all crypto companies. So with that, I want to stick with it because it has done, kind of wonder for being able to get me at least the initial conversation, right? Again, lean to your strength and don't mass apply, don't spam out in application. Some people you will make a goal, say like I'm going to apply 20 companies today. And then you go to LinkedIn, you press quick apply over and over again. That won't get you anywhere. You will get rejected. With that said, what what can you do to kind of, if you don't apply from there, where can you apply? Well, we will keep going through, then you will see. Now, within the self-assessment, and then after you assess yourself, kind of set your goals from identifying your strength, your skill, and then look for the types of the companies that you want to work at. Some of the things that's very important is that a lot of people will sort of just make your own resume and then send it out. Some folks will pay for resume reviewers to kind of help with that, but nowadays you have ChatGPT, you have Claude in your hand. By all means, use that to kind of improve your resume. That would be the first thing that I would recommend you to do. Put that onto an AI system. I just asked, you know, these are my resume. These are the points that I have. What are some of the possible companies that fit here? And you will be surprised. You might find companies that you've never heard of before. They can be very big. You've never heard of before. And then you can look deeper into that, right? Uh, and then sometimes what you can do too is that when you do see a job description, put your resume in and then put a job description in and ask the AI to sort of format it in a way that it fits with the job description. Nowadays, if you are not, say, 80% matched with what they are asking in a job description, chances are that you're not going forward. There is an ATS in between your resume and the recruiter. If it doesn't pass the ATS is application tracking system. Is essentially it's an AI or even just something like simple matchers. If you cannot check off certain amount of boxes that they ask in the job description, you're not going to pass. You're not going to get to a person. So utilize AI, feed in your resume, feed in the job description, and then just make something simple. See, like, hey, how much of a fit I am with this, reformat my resume to kind of match with what they're asking. Just so that the whole goal when you send out your resume randomly is that you want it to get to a person. A lot of the time, the rejection email that you see is not from a person, it's from the automated tracking system because you could be sending something at say 5 p.m. in the afternoon. You get a rejection tomorrow at 9 a.m. in the morning because they will put it in the queue and then it will reject everything that's not matching to it. So this is a very basic thing that you can do to kind of improve your initial chance, right? Then after that, you have things like, I would recommend go through your resume, your portfolio, update your LinkedIn, and things like that. If you have a niche, make sure to put it in LinkedIn. If your company is in AI, in crypto, in whatever you do, try to make it so that your LinkedIn has enough information so that people can so that recruiter can see it. Maybe they have some AI that will scan possible candidates for to reach out to you. So make sure anything that is your strength, your niche, make sure to put it in there. Update for sure, update your resume, update your GitHub. If you have a personal website, that's great. As I mentioned before, tailor keyword to match with the job description, right? Like something as simple as we write the bullet points in where you list your like skill set. Some people will leave the first section of their resume as like objective things like I am a software engineer looking for opportunity in this company because of XYZ, things like that. Make sure to have that to ask the AI to format your resume so that it somewhat match as much with it as the job description asking. There's a lot of things that you can, lots of tools that you can use for this. You can use Canvas, Magic Write, you can use Notion AI, you can use Gemini, or you can even dump your stuff again into a ChatGPT terminal to simply ask about this kind of stuff, right? Cool. Next, as I mentioned, don't just apply to every companies that you see. There should be companies that will not be a match for you. Uh, so make sure that what you want to do is you want to research the culture, the technology stack, the hiring process. The technology stack is very important because if you are, say, I'm a full stack a web engineer. That's what I do. I build dashboard stuff like that. I probably cannot apply for Snapchat. Most of the customer facing stuff is a mobile solution, so it will not be a fit for me. So what I mean is that don't I just apply for everything. It's not helpful. To kind of make your resume matching with the job, you have to spend a lot of time to do that part. So try to make it personable, try to make it tailored to each job that you apply. Apply less, but give it more quality rather than just apply for everything. So that's very important. The technology stack is very important, and also the hiring process. Some places can take a very long time to respond. Some places very short. The smaller the company, chances are that they will respond to you very quickly, and they might push you through the interview very, very quickly, things like that. Next thing that I would say is that lots of people want to do remote. Everybody wants to do remote. Remote is great because you get to be at home, you can do whatever. Now, if you are an entry-level engineer, the chance of you getting a remote position is very small. Almost it can be impossible to even get it because it is not in your benefit to work a remote position if you are an entry-level engineer. And we can talk a lot more about this, but that's just how it is. That's something that from my own observation, that's something that I understand. When I first started, I wouldn't want to be doing remote because there would be nobody to help me. It's very hard to ask for help. It's a huge difference between an entry level and somebody more senior. They are much different in how people navigate the workplace. So I would say if you're more entry level, do not put a requirement that remote will have to be your position. And this doesn't even mean entry level. This can be someone late in their career. Albert actually knows my wife, and she was traveling. She was flying into San Francisco from Las Vegas every week for her job for a good 6 months or so. Right. She actually takes a flight twice a week. Took a flight on Monday, fly back, and then again a flight again on Wednesday, and then fly back. Sometimes you have to do that. She is not an entry level engineer. She is very much a senior engineer. And she did that. My very first job, I used to travel 4 hours one direction. on the train to get to work. When the market is difficult, that is might be something that you just have to do. Be willing to travel, relocate if you have to. Remote is not a common thing. Okay, put that out there. When I interview for everything. I one of the offer that I got was a relocation to Seattle. I took it anyway. If that happened, I figure it out. But that's important. Do not make this as your requirement because it's not helpful for you. If you're a junior engineer, I absolutely advise not to do remote at all. Just how it is. Lean into your strength. Be open for interview, even if it does not align 100% of the time. Maybe there's something that you might not like. Maybe it's lots of people it's going to be the location problem. Sometimes it's something else. Maybe people think that the technology is super boring, but whatever that is, right? Be open for that interview. It doesn't align with you. Do not apply everywhere. Do not apply through LinkedIn, quick apply. That's is the worst thing that you can do. Chances are that nobody monitor those. A lot of those jobs might not be real. Just don't do it, right? Don't be too strict on what the salary bands are supposed to be, and you know, remote only, right? That these are the very important thing. Now, the next part is networking and outreach. This is probably the thing that helped me the most. Zero of the job that I've gotten an offer has been from me applying through the website, whether or not it's through LinkedIn Quick Apply or through applying on their website. Every time it always has been I'm reaching out to someone in the prospective companies, talking with them, or it is some ex-colleagues, my my mentors, recruiters that I've worked with in the past. All of these is very important to have a relationship with people to kind of get those jobs that might not even be posted up on the website yet. In fact, my current position right now, when I started my application, when I started my first round of interview, it was never posted on their career page. And when I accept the job has never been posted on the career page. It has always been an internal posting. That's how it is, right? Now, people might say, like, well, how do I find people and things like that? I would say go to LinkedIn in the companies, look for employees, and then find people in the company, put their profile into ChatGPT, ask them, hey, what can I craft me an intro message that I can send to this person, right? Now, not everybody is going to accept it. Maybe lots of people will accept your connection and then they never respond. But then some people will respond back to you, right? Some people, maybe 1 out of 10, maybe 1 out of 5, maybe 1 out of 20. I don't know, but some people will obviously will respond to you, and that's how you make connection. Just have casual chat with people, get to know them, and then go on from there, right? And this is sort of like a tier list in the list of importance of the people that will be able to, get you in. Friends is the most important. Ex-colleagues are very important because some of the ex-colleagues that you worked with before, they might become managers. Now they might be people that could affect the hiring metric, right? You have mentors, check in with them. You have a talk to them. Work with recruiters in the past. They might be at different companies. See if they are open to chat with you, right? And then others is just cold reaching out to people. Again, it might be very terrifying to talk with people that you don't know. People might be like, oh, I'm an introvert, whatever. Well, I am an introvert, but you can use ChatGPT to write you a message. You just send it. Very simple. They respond and take it from there. Right. But as I mentioned, networking and outreach would be my number one recommendation before you apply a position. Because once you apply to a job, people can no longer refer you anymore because you're in the system, you would be on a different pipeline. The referral pipelines generally would be faster. If you're on the regular pipeline, you might get rejected. A lot of companies will have a cool down cycle of like 6 months, 9 months or so. If they reject you, they might put you on the cool down cycle and you're going to be on the queue. Nobody can refer you once you apply. So try to do the footwork to find people that could help you to get into these places. It is very important. Networking and outreach is very, 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 very important. You can either do that through LinkedIn or you can do that at events. You can go to networking events. You can go to like engineering stuff or like if you're a front end person, you go to those React events. There's a lot of people, like-minded people. Might be easier to talk to people in person. That's how a lot of people that I meet, and that's how yeah, that's kind of how I kind of built my network through that kind of thing. That's right. Now, next step is the application and interview. Again, you have to make a plan for this. Do not apply to every single listing that you see available. Make sure to have a list of the companies that you like to work. Do the research into their company. Figure out what they do. Again, if you feed your resume to ChatGPT, ask it to get you some list of some companies that probably a fit to it. You might see something that you don't know, you've never heard about. Research what they do, try to kind of understand more into their products, especially if you apply for small companies, small startups. People are passionate about their products. You might talk directly with the co-founders or the founders, for example. They're very passionate about their products. So if you do research, you understand it, it will leverage you, it can help you a lot. And I say this because I actually failed two of the manager rounds of interview when I first started this time of interview because I didn't research a lot into their product. They asked me, hey, we have two products. Do you know what they do? I know kind of the name of the two products. I have no idea what each of them do. That doesn't look good if you do not know that if you get put in those kind of situations. And because the companies wasn't big, they had like 25 people. They want people that join in really passionate about what they do. That's that's the thing. So I failed that. I failed another one. Then after that, I started like, hey, maybe I should really look more into this. Especially if a small companies, because in crypto space, a lot of companies can be very, very small. You can join a company that like 10, 20 people. Very, very common this happen. Now you might think that like, yeah, are these companies like, are they making money and stuff? You will be surprised. If you look at like, let me see. If you look at like some of the very, very small um like crypto companies, some of them generate a huge amount of return because they just write pipeline for trades, for tradings and stuff like that. Don't need a lot of people, but that doesn't mean they don't have a lot of funding, they don't have a good runway, things like that, things like that. So smaller the company, the more that you should spend in the planning process, right? Now, tracking your interview steps is very important. If you apply for, say, 1,000 companies, very hard to track all of them. If you apply for less of them, be more, put more of your work into it. Then make sure to track them. Make sure to do follow-ups properly. One of the companies that I interviewed for, I did a follow-up a little bit late, and turned out the recruiter actually forgot to give me the to schedule the next step after that again, because these companies can be very small. They get loaded with interview requests. You pass it, sometimes it just fly under the radar for them. They forgot to reach out back to kind of move you forward. So no news is good news. You haven't heard from them. That does not mean that they have rejected you. All it means is that you just haven't heard from them. And if you track it properly, there is a time to follow up. Generally, I would say after anywhere, if you have a technical interview, if you don't hear anything back within 3 to 5 days at the most, you should probably reach out to them. I wait a week and a half. I reach out to the person like, sorry, I forgot to schedule the next round. But at that time, it was for me personally, it was already too late it was already too late for me to continue that, because I was at the tail end of my of other interviews, and I could only wrap up. So make sure for that, right? Next thing is prepare for every round, even if it's behaviors, and I mentioned that before. It's very important. And something that you can do to kind of help with this is to kind of to kind of like do a simulation between yourself and the company, and then just see that what can you do to kind of say like, I'm going to interview with the director of engineering. This is his profile. You can copy his profile, put in ChatGPT, and just ask, hey, how do I simulate this interview? Yeah, I can show exactly this is what happened when I interview. I interviews with Uniswap, with Phantom. I to do something like that. Hey, what should I ask them? Even and then you can also just ask like things like this. So you have question to ask them. We can even do more, as in like a simulation within the interview. This is one of my on-site. I can ask, what should I focus on? Or you can say something like, hey, simulate an interview between me and a with this person, and just run through it. ChatGPT will ask some question, and then you can type your answer, and then ask the AI to kind of refine your answer. And then just keep doing that, and then try to study those questions, because it will help you. You might think that, hey, these questions are very simple, things like that, but the reality is that you might get caught with something that you cannot answer. They might ask you something that's very, very difficult at the time, and the companies care a lot about this stuff. Um, some companies will put you through 3, 4 different rounds of interview. When I interviewed at Airbnb before, was what 4 different rounds of behavioral interview. My current company, 3 different rounds of behavioral interviews with different stakeholders in the company. They just really want to see how you work with people, and these questions can be very, very different, right? So that's very, very important to kind of remember this. And you can ask for like simulate the thing. Let me see if I ask this. Uh, yeah, right here, say, want me to act as a designer in real time and respond. So just say simulate it. They ask the question, and then I answer the question. Sometimes I do not even know what to ask. Then I would just say that The ChatGPT will give me some advices of what to do. Little things like this, the more you prepare, the easier it is once you get put into the spotlight. Helps you a lot with going through. You can see I've done a ton of these simulation, a ton of them for all of my interview. And most of them are actually just behavioral preps. And because these were something that I failed twice very quickly early on, and I realized that I should probably spend a ton of times on this. And you know, utilize this stuff. This is free to do. I don't have a paid ChatGPT. They keep asking me to upgrade, but you don't have to. You can use the base version of it. You can get help you with prepping, right? It's very important. And again, target the interview rounds that you do not do well. Generally, it is it depends on the person, right? Again, I said the most important thing is to pass the technical rounds. If you are fumbling in the technical rounds, that's a completely different problem. But once you get comfortable with that, you will have to kind of do well in these rounds because the market is very difficult right now. There will be people that way well prepared compared to others, and those people will kind of stand out in the eyes of employers and things like that. So make sure to prep that well, right? As I mentioned before, these are some of the things that you can do. You can say this answer to generally possible interview question. Like 10 behavioral questions Coinbase might ask you. If you know who's going to interview you, look to that person LinkedIn, see what they do, copy paste their profile. You can put that into like as I mentioned, just ask it to like act as a hiring manager, act as Peter. He's a director of engineering. This is his profile. Please write, simulate the interview. That whole simulation is very important. Even though you think that well, I'm not really talking, I'm typing, but type it out, spend time on it, and it will help you to kind of move the conversation forward. It was very, very helpful for me by far, something that I've never done before in an interview because AI wasn't big back then. There wasn't ChatGPT for me to kind of do those simulation. Now it's available, so by all means, do that, right? And you can also use like AI-based like ATS checker. You can use like job scan, Resi to kind of help you to score your resume before you submitting. If the score is low, like then use then use the AI to kind of fix it. Like, hey, well, what can I fix? My score compared to this job is very low. If it's low, chances are that you're not gonna pass. Like if it's low score on job scan, chances are the company also use that as the ATS backend. If it's low, it's just going to reject it, right? And this is also very important to take notes, keep track of whatever the company has asked you, questions that you kind of fumble around, keep track of the bad thing and kind of use that to study for the next time, essentially, right? Cool. So yeah, this is sort of the reflection of it. After the interview, do some reflection. Think about what did you do? Make note of that. Mentioned before, you haven't heard from the recruiter in like 2 days. Doesn't mean anything. Haven't heard from them a week doesn't really mean anything. Sometimes just mean that they might forget about you, or they might have other tasks at hand. My wife actually, her current company, they didn't respond to her for 2 weeks. She thought that she didn't get the interview. Turned out that they had an offsite. They had a bunch of things going on. Internally, the recruiter couldn't get people together for feedback. Things like that do happen. So no news is good news. And then moving forward, so even if you do bad in an interview, doesn't mean anything. Let's move forward. Just take it as an experience, learn from it, and move forward. Right. Remember to do follow-ups. And also remember to keep track of your interview. Don't just apply and leave them dead. Is again, if you applied like 30 jobs a day, it's gonna be very hard to keep track and follow up with all of them. That's why you don't want to do that. You want to apply for way less than that, maybe 10 a week, 10 every 2 weeks. Do the footwork, find people that can, inside the company that are willing to talk to you and stuff like that, right? And obviously, the last part is that you might get an offer, you might get a rejection, you might get some learning. Sometimes the companies will, like the recruiter, will offer to share you the reason why they reject you. But I would say don't count on it. I would say 1 out of 10 places will give you a feedback. Most of the time, it will just be an basic, hey, we decide to move on to the new candidate. That's it. But when they do offer to give you feedback, take the feedback and then do it better next time, right? And obviously, all you can get an offers, things like that, and that's a whole different story. Do a lot of negotiation on it. I do tutoring on just more the technical part. When my students got an offer, I help them with the negotiation process. Of course, you have to negotiate. You don't just say yes to the first offer that comes, right? And it's very important, if possible, to get more than one offer so that you have ammo to sort of do that do that negotiation. But yeah, that's it for me for today. Albert, you can come back.
All right, I am back. All right, are the slides available anywhere online?
I shared it to you. You can send it to people. Yeah.
Awesome. I'm also putting up a poll for everybody. We're looking at possibly diving deeper into one aspect of working on software engineering. So feel free to answer that poll. We'd love to know your opinion. Um, and if you also want to do a mock interview, you can always come back and do one with us here. Clay asks, how can boot campers stand out? Anything to be mindful when building a portfolio for the application?
I would say, do you have your own website? Like, if you have something that you build for yourself, that's something that you can make it nice, go beyond what you put in the boring resume. Your resume should be very cut and dry, but your website is make it nice. Right? Like I shared this before. This is from one of my very close friend. This is his personal website. You cannot put all this stuff in a resume, but you can put this in the website. You can see very clean, very cool. Yeah. So so things like this. This is a good example of a personal website, something that you can tag in your resume. I used to have one. The website is down right now because I never migrate our first cell at one point when it didn't upgrade, so can't share that. But yeah, I would say something like this is nice. Yeah.
All right, any other votes? Can we have a session on resume review? Okay. Somebody wants to think about doing resume review. What is your biggest challenge with resumes? Let's talk about that.
Uh, Hold on, I lost. Hmm. What do you mean the biggest challenge? Well, I would say for entry level, the hardest part with resume is that you might not have things to put into your resume. You might be tempting to put everything and everything in there, like even jobs that are not like make sense to be in a software engineer, right? Like you might work at, for example, I used to do like sales, right? And when I did my first job, I was very tempting to put in the sales in there just to fill up space. I say, don't do that. One thing that would help is build your own project, build your own website, write about those things. Or the best thing is contribute onto open source project. Open source project is very popular. Um, that would be something that would help you to kind of get the outlook from a professional. You get good outlook into like how professionals work together. You get that real world experience from people looking at your code and stuff like that. So I would say open source project should be very high on your list for that. Right.
All right. Any tips on managing nerves before and during the interview?
I would say uh, what I do is that I practice like breathing. For example, I actually stutter. I'm stuttering when I talk really fast. So I've learned a way so that I can talk in a way that I do not stutter. I don't. So you can learn things like do practice breathing before you do interview. And I would say if you do technical interview, very important to not look at any code the day of your interview. You want your head to be completely empty. Some people, we try to study until right before the interview. That's never helped you. It's like when you do tests in high school or in college. You don't want to study up until the point of your test because then that's really not how you're supposed to do this kind of stuff, right?
Mhm. I've put a lot of keywords to get past the applicant tracking system that are kind of reaching. I am familiar with the skill, but I am not an expert at it. What do you think?
By all means, just do it.
To do it? Okay.
Yeah, just do it. The thing is that if you're somewhat familiar with something, for example, if a job say like, hey, you have to know SQL. You might not know SQL very well. Things like that, you can pick it up in a weekend. You can spend like 3 days, a long weekend. Watch that kind of stuff is not too difficult to pick up. But it has to be things that you think that you can pick up quickly. Say like if you don't know like Golang, you don't want to put Golang in your resume because you can't just really pick up and know how to write like how like a Go server is gonna work, right? Things that you can pick up quickly, but you kind of not so sure put it in, right? But not like some like huge technology like if they want to know database stuff,
Mhm.
uh, depends, right? Depends. If you are somewhat familiar, you can pick it up quickly, fine. But don't put things that are way too out of your reach. Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on folks who have done career changes? I'm self-taught. I've been trying to break through, but haven't been able to successfully yet. I come from tech and startups, but on the project and business side, but not sure if it ever plays any relevance. How would you potentially frame it?
Oh, this is a lot. This is a much longer conversation. Yeah, I can't answer this within a few minutes. For what it's worth, I'm also a non-traditional engineer. I study biochemistry in college and
What are your
psychology.
very like top level thoughts of that though?
Oh, top level
Maybe
thoughts.
Thomas, if you want to reach out to Fong for a deeper conversation, you can.
Yeah,
Or generally
that's
speaking, what does that look like?
uh I would say right now in what October of 2025. That is a very big mountain to climb.
Hmm.
Is it doable? Yes. My last students also did the same boot camp as I did. She got the job about a year ago. And that was at the peak of the layoff stuff, right? Now it's still pretty bad, but it's kind of slowing down.
Especially what happened earlier this week. You and I have been talking about it.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so is it possible? Yes, but it is a very big mountain to climb. Yeah.
Hmm. Let's see. Do you have any experience with assessments for FANG companies?
What do you mean by assessment? Like, have I taken them? Have I
Probably, yeah.
given?
Have you taken a coding test from a FANG
Yeah,
or a MANG or whatever they call it now?
yeah. Back in 2020, that's I got an offer from Google. I went to DoorDash instead at the time.
Hmm.
So I did the full loop with them. The full loop took like 9 months. It's very slow in 2020. So,
Hmm.
because during COVID,
And
it
what
was
was your
just really,
experience? Was it difficult? Was it strenuous?
it's not the hardest interview I've done
Hmm. Hmm.
by far. The
Yeah.
hardest interview was actually, let me see. The hardest interview was actually not from any of the FANG. I passed the Google interview. I've done the full loop on site with Netflix before. Uh, Never did at Meta. I did it twice at like Amazon, Microsoft. The hardest one is actually on like some smaller companies, like some like crypto trading companies. Very, very hard question. DYDX was actually the hardest interview that I've been. You
Mm.
might never, you'll never heard of them, but they do billions of dollars of trade volume a day. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
look up DYDX. This billions of dollars a day. Very prominent crypto companies. It's
Gotcha.
one of the hardest interview I've ever done.
Hmm. Let's see. Shivam writes, I don't know why I haven't gotten more than one interview in the last year. I'm looking for entry-level roles. Would you suggest anything on how to step into my first corporate experience? I have a bachelor's in computer science, engineering, along with a PGDM in blockchain development. I wish we could
I
have
would
a
say
resume review session. Thanks for your insights.
I would say you just have to find people that willing to put you forward. Blockchain as an entry level is very difficult because it's a very niche thing.
Hmm.
Generally, blockchain companies are smaller. They want people to go in and already know the stuff.
Yeah.
It's like a catch-22 thing. How do I get something I don't know, right? Open source projects are there. A blockchain all the blockchains are public, right? So you can contribute code to it. And that's some people do that. Some people do a huge contribution to not even a big project. Some people have like a decent sized project, and that's how they apply to this blockchain company through it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on leak code?
You have to do lead code well. There's no choice out of it. You cannot avoid it. Half of the company will interview you in lead code for sure. If you are entry level, the chance of they giving you lead code is much higher than someone's more senior. Because when you're entry level, the only uh, bar that they can judge is can you do lead code? When you have experience and you apply to like some smaller companies, your experience will start matter more. At that point, the system design routes will start matter more than the lead code route. But if you are entry level to mid level lead code, you have to do it well. I do lead code tutoring. That's what I do. So, Kevin, if you have questions, you can always reach out. If you need help with a mock interview in lead code kind of interview, I run them. Reach out to Albert. We can schedule that. I can run a mock interview on them, but you just have to know lead code. You cannot avoid it.
Can you recommend data structures, algorithm topics to focus on?
Leadcode.com. I hate to
Yeah.
say it. That's
Yeah.
That's what you need to know. Sort it by yourself.
Pass the leak code wall, and you will have everything you've ever wanted beyond it, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing I said, right? All of these thread, all of these thread will mean nothing if you do not pass the lead code question, which is generally going to be the first round of interview. Interview will be a recruiter, which generally is the easy thing. If they call you, they will move you to the technical round. First round is gonna be a lead code problem. Second round might be a take home. They might move you directly on site, depending on company. Some company will be a lead code round, a take home, and then an on site. On site is like a full 6 hours day. Right? Sometimes if it's a lead code, you pass it and you go on site. So if you don't pass the coding round, nothing else matters. Right?
Hmm.
But that's it. Yeah,
I mean, you're a
that's my
software engineer. You're expected to code. If you can't pass that,
yes.
why would they hire you, right?
Yeah, and you can argue all day about lead code doesn't pertain to the actual work, which is true. It doesn't, but it is for the lack of better words, it is the game that all companies play. All the big companies are going to ask you lead code. You're at least going to
Yeah.
have one round of it. You have to pass it. So,
Hmm. How important are data science or data structures and algorithms for machine learning DS roles?
no, they will ask you. Even if you're a manager, they will ask you.
Hmm.
You just have less of them.
Yeah.
If you're entry level, mid level, you get one lead code first round. On site, you have 1 to 2 more lead code rounds. So you entry level, you're looking at about 3 lead code rounds from start to finish with the company. The first round on site, we had two rounds of lead code, one round of system design, one round of behavior. Right now, if you are more senior, then you're gonna get less lead code. You might get a take-home project. On site will be one lead code round, one like 2 rounds of design, might be like a front-end design, might be like an entire system design, and then a bunch of behavioral questions. So that's just how it is.
How
It's
much
very
leak code did you
important.
get this interview round?
About half of them will ask me lead code. Yeah.
Mhm. Oh, cool. All right. Any other questions? It looks like AI workshop on the software engineering job search wins this one again, followed by multi-week interviewing bootcamp. Yeah. Well, look at that. Good list, Chris. Good list. All right. Ken Lee says so prevalent. All right. Well, if there are no questions, you do have Fong's LinkedIn account. I encourage you to connect with him. Ask him lots and lots of questions so he tells me to tell you to stop bothering him. I'm kidding about that. Ask him lots of questions. How many leak code questions did you do
Good.
when you were prepping for your interviews at the
Oh,
beginning, Fong?
when I passed the Google interview, I did about 200. Now I did about 1,700. But you don't need to do 1,700. In fact, you don't even need to do 500 problem.
Yeah.
Number is much lower than that. The people that I tutor, they pass interview. It's more on what you are studying rather than just blindly do them too. It seems like you go to leetcode.com right now, there are like 3,000 problems. You do not need to do 3,000 problems, right? That's just how it is. Yeah. Is neat code sufficient? Yeah. If you know that, you will be okay. You will be decent. It's a good entry point. So yeah,
Oh, so there's
the
neat code and there's lead code.
oh,
Okay.
that's just some guy, some YouTube that I think he was at Amazon and he got jaded. Then he quit and made a YouTube channel. He called it Neat Code, and he shows like
That's awesome.
it's a good channel. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Awesome.
yeah.
Cool.
You don't need to do 500 problems. I realized this when I did about 1,000. I was like, lots of these are just repeat of
You did
themselves.
450. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have come to the end of today's webinar. I want to thank everybody for staying all the way to the end here. Thank you so much for spending your time. Fong, any final words before I just close this down and send everybody another weekends?
That's it. But yeah, feel free to connect to me if you have a question. Just ask. You need mock interviews. We run them for free, so utilize them. You have
Yeah.
upcoming interviews. Yeah, utilize them. That's it.
Yeah. So if you are looking for a mock interview, send an email there with your interests. If you're wondering where this is going to be on YouTube later, go to our YouTube channel here and like and subscribe, and we will follow up with more. And so come back soon and have a wonderful rest of your night or day, wherever you might be. All right. Bye, everybody.
Later, guys.